What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Log Horizon Episode 2. And I know I'm like a few days late with this review, but I have been moving recently and I finally settled down and I found some time to watch some anime. And of course, one of the ones I'm going to watch first is Log Horizon because from the first episode, I really like this one. So our episode starts off with a player dies, but luckily he actually gets revived in the cathedral. So we now know when people die, they aren't gone for good because he actually will come back. So then we actually go to our main trio that are now fighting monsters. In some forest, they were like fighting some kind of plant creature. And I gotta say, I actually like how these players, use their skills. I'm definitely liking Shiro, his spells are kind of awesome. So they're like practicing, learning how to use, some of their techniques, because it's like their bodies know how to do it. They just gotta master it. And Shiro made a good point. There's a huge difference between using like a skill or a spell and mastering it. So that definitely made a lot of sense. So now they have gone back to Marie and her guild, and we learned that there's a lot of player killing going on, and that right there is kind of messed up because apparently outside of towns you cannot use your mini-map. So sneak attacks and being gained up on, they are a lot more effective in the outside world. But the reason why people won't attack you, like in a city, is because apparently I believe like some kind of like royal guard. If you start fighting in a city, they'll like come in there and if you resist them, they will kill you. So back when this game was pretty freaking huge, it's when like that was going on. And apparently I'm guessing now they don't want to risk that since they're like trapped in there, so people don't have to fear their life once they're in town. So then like after they're done training for the day, they are returning, and Akatsuki, she want to practice her I believe it was dark vision, her sneak move, and silent, because she has a subclass which is a tracker. And this anime has so much depth to it because I believe Shiro said there are like 12 combat classes, and then there are a ton, and really there are a ton of subclasses that you can have. Now I'm not sure if you can have every subclass, but it's obvious that they have a lot, to fall back on. So these 4 players have come there, to player kill them for their money and whatever items they can get. And I just gotta say, Shiro and Natsugo, those guys were doing work. I loved that little fighting scene with them because it was like pretty epic. And those, player killers thought that they were so big and bad, like they could take whatever they want. But Shiro actually got a little cocky in this episode because he was like, he has no problem, handing over their money if they can beat him. And I'm not gonna lie, like Shiro right there kind of came like a badass in that one scene. I definitely was digging that a lot. So while they're fighting, like Natsugo, he's a tank because he was taking like majority of the hits, and of course Shiro was supporting him with all these spells. And then I believe it was called Anchor Howl. Now that attack right there, or that skill, that right there looked pretty freaking epic. I was definitely digging that a lot, and it was a spell that made sure that the other players couldn't ignore him, because if they did, that they would take a huge counter attack. And we actually did see, because I believe it was one of their thieves. She was like, at one point she was going after Shiro, and Natsugo just like appeared behind her, looking like a demon with her red eyes, and attacked her. And that right there was like pretty epic. And then they were taking a lot of damage at one point, and they went there to heal them. But Shiro, being the genius that he is, he had already put him to sleep. And then we had Akatsuki that took care of the members, waiting to ambush them, because they had a summoner and I believe a spellcaster, like waiting to ambush them. But Akatsuki she picked up on what Shiro said about having visuals only for them. She knew that there could be more, hiding, and she found it with no problem. So then this one guy, at first I thought he was being sincere when he was giving up, but he had pulled out like some hidden dagger, and of course Akatsuki, she had to kill him. But I do want to point out that that her killing that guy looked like they shook her up some, even though she just took out 2 players that were hiding. So that was kind of weird, but she did what she had to do. So then they go back to they go back to Marie's guild, that Crescent Moon Alliance, and we learned that player that we saw running and hiding, that was Sarah, and she was saved by that cat person that we saw at the end of episode 1, and they're now protecting her. And Crescent Moon were gonna send their strongest players, out there to save her. But Shiro was like thinking to himself, and he knew that this plan, it was not gonna work, because even if they had a healer, it wasn't gonna work, because the most players you get on the party is 6, and the highest level players weren't gonna work to save her. So he knew that was gonna fail. So he was thinking about what he can do. And Akatsuki and Naguso, they knew what they had to do, so they kind of gave like Shiro a pat on the back so he could say what he needed to say, because I already knew that I knew at some point he was gonna go there, so that was kind of obvious, like the way that it was just building up, because you can tell that it wasn't gonna work if they win in the first place. That's why like everybody should have known that our 3 main characters were going to be one to go there. So now that they took up this quest, I guess you could say it's a quest, to rescue her. They had these like whistles that they blew to call these horses, and of course they were traveling, and then at one point they had pulled out some weird looking thing, like it was a whistle, but it was like made out of wood and looked so weird. And when it blew on it, it called these awesome griffins, and that right there looked epic. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely like how the griffins look in that game, or the anime, whatever. So that right there was like pretty cool to see. And apparently you can only get those by beating something. I forgot what it's called, but apparently it was like some kind of like hard challenge that they had conquered, and that right there gave them the item to call the griffins. So now Akatsuki, she was acting so shy, and it was like cute of her to see her blushing so much when she had to grab Shiro's hand. So now they're all on their way there on the griffins, and I definitely cannot wait for episode 3. Like I know I was late with this one, but I know when episode 3 came out on Saturday, I definitely won't be late with that. But as always, guys, don't forget to like the video and subscribe, because that really helps me out. And like I said, the anime is really good, and I definitely enjoy episode 2. But as always, you guys take it easy, and I will see you all next time.